With the War Within, Blizzard is adding a new pillar of endgame called Delves. Delves are really going to reshape the way that we play the game and also who can participate in hyper endgame content. The thing is that Delves are going to reward players the same way that they would reward players if they were doing a Mythic plus 10 dungeon. So that is the cap out, the highest amount of item level, the highest gear that you can get from Delves. Now that's pretty good because if any of you are just coming back or new players or returning players that missed the last season of Dragonflight, Blizzard did reconfigure the way that Mythic dungeons function. So they no longer have that system where it just goes all the way up to Mythic plus 20 and all that. They made it condensed where they reduced the highest Mythic plus dungeon down to 10. So that's right. You're going to get the highest level Mythic plus gear from doing Delves, and Delves do go up to a plus 8, or there's 8 different tiers to Delves, plus an infinite scaling challenge delve on the end of it just to give further challenge, but it does not increase the gear rewarded. Now, that's a lot to digest there because in the past, solo players really didn't have any kind of pillar content for them to extend into. And when I refer to solo players, I mean players that primarily used world content events and things to be able to gear their characters out. So this is players that were more interested in doing the renown grind. And I'm just talking from a Dragonflight perspective. Dream Surges, world events, world bosses, your zone events like Siege on Dragonbane Keep, the Soup event, hunts with the centaurs, all of those were more geared towards players that didn't have a set like raid time or group that they jump into to be able to go into more difficult content such as the raids and Mythic Plus. Raids, Mythic Plus, and PvP have been kind of the trinity of endgame content for most players because that is your way of reaching the highest echelon or the highest level of item level. Huge swath of players, a lot of people are excited about the fact that there's going to be an alternative way to obtain gear, not only for players that just want to do solo content, but also players that just want to take a break from the main hamster wheel, the main things we've been doing like Mythic Plus and also raids. This just gives variety, and variety is always a good thing when it comes to an MMO or any game in that matter. Having more options and more things to do inside of that game just makes the longevity of it and the enjoyability of it just go on for a little bit longer. And I'll insert my own personal opinion on this, that I think that putting this into the game as another option for players to play in a different way is nothing but a positive thing. I think the addition of this is going to keep a lot of the casual players playing the game for longer. I think the more people we have playing an MMO and experiencing the game and going through it, the better, because after all, isn't the world and the people in it kind of the main draw when it comes to massive multiplayer online? I think the answer is probably different for everyone, but it's tough to deny the fact that seeing a world or a zone or, sitting in Orgrimmar surrounded by other people, it really is a unique feeling that the MMO genre has. So if we take a look at Delves and what you're going to be able to do, the speed at which you can clear these is going to be similar to a gear grind that you experience on any other pillar of content. In fact, it reflects it very well. The only difference here is that it is a much shorter experience. Delves will typically take around 15 minutes. And you can complete it faster than that. But as you scale up difficulty, you will start using more and more of the time. And also they benefit from the fact that they are not timed content. So this is going to be mainly just gated by either difficulty or gear and your ability to take down the challenge and your character having the power to take on that challenge. Now, it's not all just down to player power. You also do have Bran Bronzebeard. So this is your companion character for the first season that's going to go with you into these delves, and you're able to equip Bran with skills and also items to be able to make him function in one of a couple different roles. You can have him more of a supportive role, or you can have him also be a damage dealer next to you. Or if you are playing a healing character, a tanking character, you can defend Bran and he can also support you in that way. Now, the fact that you can go into there with different styles of play, you can have damage dealers, tanks, and also healers all going to the same kind of content means that it's structured in a way that Bran adds that level of modularness that where you're able to make this dungeon into something that's digestible by any of those different roles. Now, we talked about how and like what kind of player this is really good for, and I do think it is a player that doesn't have the same amount of time available as others to be able to put together a group, to be able to put together a raid, and be able to jump into the raiding content and that kind of stuff. Or players that maybe just like to play by themselves more of your collectors or world content players. But not all of those players are interested in just casual content. As we've seen with the Mage Tower and other Brawl Club, players do like challenges even if they are interested in mainly solo level content or soloing content. They do want to have some kind of challenge, and then having a reward attached to it makes sense. It makes sense for them to have that. Now the question is, should it be gated behind just groups being able to achieve this? What is it about only having group content having access to the highest item level gear? What is the purpose of that? And are we changing the identity of the game by allowing players to achieve the highest level of play solo? The thing is that even mainstream players playing the usual Trinity or playing the usual content that you'd expect from WoW, again, it's raids, Mythic Plus, and then also PvP, players that do decide to participate mainly in that content still are going to be able to use delves as a backup. Not by the fact that they are easier by any means, but more just the fact that they do take less time. There's less time invested when it comes to filling out your vault for the week if you just use delves to complete it. For example, the first level, you have to complete 3 delves to unlock the first world type on your vault. So that bottom layer, to be able to get the first node in the set of 3, you have to complete 3 delves. Each delve, again, taking somewhere in the ballpark of 15 minutes, it's going to allow you just to be able to get something in your vault for that week in a very small amount of time dedicated. Now, I can say from my perspective as a player that's really enjoyed the solo content changes that they've made in Dragonflight. In fact, a lot of the time I spent playing Dragonflight was solo. My friends quit pretty early on. I would say that the major complaint I had about that is that the content itself was varied and it was interesting, and there's a lot of different things to do, and they invested a lot into just creating more events, like the introduction of Time Surge and just all of the different transmog stuff that players could hunt after. And then even Dream Surge was pretty cool to see as well. And the amount of unlockables and things that you could get in both of those events was astonishing. But this does even add an evergreen layer to this content where I can see collectors coming back to do this stuff in the future as well. Really cool to see that, just the amount of content available to players of that play style. The main issue I had with it, and it's addressed very firmly with the addition of delves, is that there wasn't really a pinnacle piece or any kind of ultimate motivation or pinnacle challenge that you're working towards as a solo player. If you weren't interested or weren't able to participate in Mythic Plus or raids, it kind of felt like it wasn't really building towards anything. The acquisition of gear, the increase in power didn't really have the same meaning to it as it would if you were on a raid team or Mythic Plus team. And for that reason, it kind of fell a little bit hollow towards the end, where you didn't really have any kind of challenge to really push that stuff into. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about these changes to WoW? I think it's an interesting topic. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out, but let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of this? Do you think that this is a concerning trend? Do you think it's a good addition? Do you think this is going to be healthy for WoW and maybe the MMO space in general? Also, let me know if you like this style of content. I haven't really done too many discussion type videos on my channel. I'm really curious if you did enjoy it. Let me know in the comment section below. And everyone, if the video did help you out today, please strike that like button. If you want to stay tuned for more WoW content in the future, please bash the subscribe. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.